So my name is Alex. I'm working for TeachW as a scientific project manager, and I'm right now coordinating the project PowerBase and the national funded project Voran, which is the German practitioner network for civil security research. But today we will speak about PowerBase, and I've heard that some of you have heard a little bit already about the project. I will start from scratch. So what is PowerBase? PowerBase is an acronym for Low Emission Power Supply for Emergency Shelters and Bases of Operation. And together with my colleague Sophie Bo-Hafner, we are coordinating at the moment the project. Let's have a look on our infographic, because I think this illustrates very well what we're trying to do. So as you can see at the top, we have a base of operation and emergency shelters. And as our title is mentioning, we would like to be low emission, and our electricity is a necessity. And as you can see in the middle, we have illustrated a few solar panels and green batteries, because that's where we would like to be in the far future. Before I am going into further details, I would like to do the same as I tried to do last time. I would like to start with the journey of our minds, because to my understanding, same as in PowerBase, as in direction, not all of us are first responders, and therefore we don't know exactly how deployment work. And for that reason, I would like to dedicate 3 minutes, and maybe you can try to feel and think about a little bit how it is to be an emergency responder of emergency response team. So what we are doing now in the next 3 minutes, we are going back to Turkey, Syria earthquake in 23. On the 6th of February at night, the earthquake hit Turkey and the north of Syria. I guess most of you have still the images in their minds. A few hours later, you, as emergency team member, as a search and rescue team member, you received the information that the Union Civil Protection Mechanism was activated, and the search and rescue team your search and rescue team should be deployed in Turkey. So what is going to happen within the next couple of hours? So what you're going to do is you will grab your pre-packed backpack, you will say goodbye to your family, you probably inform your boss, and then you meet your team members at the airport. Hopefully, your colleagues will have chartered a passenger airplane, which is going to bring you and your equipment to Gaziantep. Gaziantep is a big city in the southeast of Turkey. There in Gaziantep, you and your team members will move your material, so your equipment, which is probably 16 tons, from the airplane onto trucks. And because you don't have a forklift by hand, you will do it by hand. You will transport 16 tons of material from the airplane to trucks. The trucks will transport everything to Kirikan. Kirikan is a small town close to the epicenter. There, you probably still have these images in mind. You have these pancake houses, the collapsed building. There's no critical infrastructure working. Everything is destroyed. The first thing you will do and your team will set up a base of operation. A base of operation is basically just a camp. That's the place where you eat, where you sleep, where you live for the next 14 days. And that's the place where you feel safe. It's your home. It's your home for you and your team. While you are setting up the camp, your logistics officer will go and look for diesel or fossil fuel in general, because what you need is electricity. And electricity is produced by diesel generators or petrol generators. But you don't bring your diesel from Austria, Germany, France, you buy it on the local market. And therefore your logistic officers is figuring out where to find diesel, which is not always easy when the critical infrastructure is destroyed. And what is happening next? You will sleep, eat, and work for 14 days next to noisy diesel generators. And here I would like to stop now and would like to stress a few aspects of this journey of our minds. First of all, every emergency response organization is using diesel or petrol generators to power an emergency shelter or a base of operation. It is rather usual to use passenger aircraft to transport material and your first responders. I mean, some will use cargo or military airplanes, but passenger aircrafts is rather usual. And also all of the regulations apply for passenger aircraft as you would go to vacation somewhere in southern Spain. So there are no other regulations, which makes it sometimes complicated to transport hazardous goods. And as I pointed out, you depend on the availability of local diesel. And as you can imagine, if you have a destroyed critical infrastructure, the market prices might go high if you would like to buy diesel on the local market. So that's where I would like to stop. Let's have a look on a few more slides. I think I tried to set the scene a little bit. And that's the background where we would like to start. I pointed out power is a necessity. We usually use fossil fuels. By definition, our UCPM units are self-sufficient, but we buy the diesel, which is, I don't know, we can argue about that if this is real self-sufficiency or not. And if we have a look on the wider perspective on the European Green Deal, to become a climate neutral Europe, we probably have to find other solutions and ways to produce electricity. On the right-hand side, you can see your base of operation in Turkey. So that is a photo from your base of operation, which I was talking about. The bottom photo shows emergency shelter from the rescue unit from MSB Sweden, just to complement here. Fossil fuel generators in general are pretty cool because they are cheap, mobile, reliable, easy to maintain, and scalable, as you can see at the bottom. Small ones at the left, large ones at the right. But they have certain disadvantages, as I pointed out: greenhouse gas emissions, noise emissions, or sometimes logistics can be also a problem in terms of fossil fuel, or if they have been used, they are considered as a hazardous good. The key facts about the project are we are 12 partners from 10 European countries, and 8 of them are emergency response organizations. As Olivier pointed out at the beginning, the project is ending. It's our last month, and it has been a coordination and support action, which was funded by 1 million euro. And as probably most of you know, a coordination support action is not developing technology. So that's what I would like to stress here. We are not developing technology, but I will explain later how we would like to achieve our goals. Who are the partners? As you can see on the left-hand side, here are our end users, our first responders. Austrian Red Cross, for instance, also participating in direction. So we are working together in PowerBase as well. The middle shows our academic institutions. I mean, Fraunhofer, I think, is also part of direction. And on the right-hand side, we see our consultancies which are supporting us. So what is our vision? As I pointed out, we are focusing on the end-user-driven approach because we try to find the common unmet need between different end-user organizations. We are aiming for a low-emission energy solution, and we are setting the groundwork for innovation procurement. It was also mentioned at the introduction, we are talking about pre-commercial procurement. I will say a few words later on that, because innovation procurement is a process, and pre-commercial procurement is one part of the puzzle of innovation procurement. But what are our objectives? Our objectives are highlighted down here. As I pointed out, we are looking, or what we are summarizing actually, is a catalog of needs and requirements. What are the common unmet needs of our European response organization? This is done by the Austrian Red Cross. At the same time, we're doing a state-of-the-art analysis because we would like to know what is already on the market. I mean, if we have a technology on the market which is satisfying our needs, then we don't have an innovation gap. We have a procurement gap, so we have to buy it. But if we have an innovation gap, then we need research and development. At the same time, we would like to build a community out of suppliers, so technology providers, companies, so these are our suppliers, and the procurers, the emergency response organizations, because the suppliers need to know what we need. If we don't talk to them, they will never develop something which we can buy in the end. And at the same time, we would like to train emergency response organizations in innovation procurement. Because to our understanding, most emergency response organizations have not understood very well what is innovation procurement and how does it work. Here we have a simplified Gantt chart. As I pointed out, we are basically at the end. The main focus was the responder needs assessment. At the same time, the state-of-the-art analysis in blue. That's what I've said on the slide before. Right now, we are primarily focusing on the procurement preparation because we are preparing for a follow-up project, which I would like to mention on the next few slides. As I pointed out, we are a coordination on support action. Therefore, we are not, I cannot show nice technology because we are not developing technology right now. I mean, as you can imagine, in 1 year's time, you will not develop technology. What we do, we have a lot of workshops, national workshops in all of the different countries, consortium workshops, where we discuss what is the requirement we are looking for. And as you can imagine, 8 different responder organizations might have 8 different requirements, sets of requirements. It is actually not so easy to find a common language on that. So let's step back. What is innovation procurement? Because maybe not everybody of know is familiar with this terminology. Innovation procurement, as the Commission defines it, refers to any procurement that has one or both of the following aspects. Either you buy the outcome of innovation, so you buy the outcome of a research project, or you buy the process of innovation. And that's what we are focusing on. We try to have a follow-up project where we are going to buy research and development services. And that is very important. And that's what we call a pre-commercial procurement project. If you figure out that there is no solution on the market yet, and that is the case for PowerBase, then you cannot buy it. And what is needed, I mean, it needs to be developed. And therefore, you basically have research and development. And this should basically develop your new innovation. And hopefully, after that, you can buy it on the market. So the idea is, first of all, do research and development. After that, buy the technology. And let's go back to our infographic because it illustrates it. As I pointed out in the beginning, we are doing right now PowerBase. This is phase 0, the requirements analysis, figuring out what is already on the market. We have figured out that we have an innovation gap, and that qualifies us to apply for a second funding. So that's why we would like to hand a follow-up proposal with the tentative title PowerBase PCP. And if we receive the funding, we can have a stepwise approach where technology is developed by technology providers. Different technology providers will be competitors. So in phase 1, a couple, probably 5 to 6 technology providers receive a small budget of funding, and they should come up with concepts. These concepts will be evaluated by emergency response organizations, and a few of them will make it to phase 2. Then the suppliers receive more funding, and they are going to develop prototypes. After phase 2, emergency response organizations are going to evaluate these prototypes, and the best prototypes will make it to phase 3, where these prototypes will be further developed to first products. These first products will be tested again by the emergency responders at the end in a real-time environment, in a real scenario. And that is called a PCP. So basically the green dotted line, the 3 phases. And that's, as you can see on our final slide, is what we are trying to do. At the bottom, you see the lifetime of PowerBase. It was a 1 year project. And in November 25, we would like to hand in a follow-up proposal. And hopefully, as you know, it takes a little bit to review the proposals. If we are lucky, we will receive funding, and we are going to start with the PCP project, where the technology development will happen next year in August or September. So thank you for your time. That's PowerBase in a nutshell, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Alex, for the very nice explanation of the whole process, because sometimes it's confusing for if you are not directly involved, it's confusing between innovation, procurement, PCP, and it was very well explained. So thank you very much for this. I have a question. What happened if after your submission of the proposal, the evaluation decide to fund another project and you are not successful with the PCP proposal submission? Do you have a backup solution, a plan B?
That's a very good question. I think everybody who's writing proposals always would like to win, but so you're absolutely right. Right now, we have two coordination and support actions. It's PowerBase, and the competitor project is called Intercept. It is a law enforcement project. It's about stopping cars, and it is highly likely that they are going to submit a proposal. So in the end, it is most likely a 50% chance to win the follow-up the PCP project. If we're not lucky and Intercept is winning, I guess we will try to submit the year after, because if you have probably seen the already leaked and drafted work program of 26 and 27, and also 26 there is a PCP topic, and then we probably will resubmit 1 year later. So that is at least the plan B, but hopefully we don't have to use this plan B.
And when are there any other mechanisms to fund this kind of activity? Because everyone who has participated in the activity of the PowerBase Zero, so the preparation of the framework, everyone is very motivated to go very quickly to the next step, and sometimes it's difficult to cut this engagement or this commitment and to stop it or say, wait a moment, we are waiting for funding. So are there any other options that there are some kind of self-funding by the public organization which are inside PowerBase, or to find some sponsors for this kind of activity? Because we see the number of earthquake, of landslide, of natural disaster and their intensity are increasing. So we would like to have this kind of solution as soon as possible and not wait for another 2 years of bureaucracy.
This is a very good question. The honest answer is, of course, there is the opportunity. I mean, I'm working for THW, which is the governmental organization, and if THW would put such a high priority on PowerBase, I mean, everybody can do PCPs. You don't need the funding by the commission. So you can a pre-commercial procurement project, or a PCP, it's kind of a framework. It has a certain directive behind. You have to follow certain rules. But if you use money from the commission, if you use money from the German government or from the French government, so you can do it on your own, actually. So this would be, in theory, a possibility. It would make it probably also sometimes a little bit easier, because then you don't have to negotiate with all of the other countries, because if you use your own money, you could basically do it on your own. But we haven't spoken about that, because what we have figured out so far, that most of our partners depend on the funding. They don't have these large budgets, and that's why they cannot fund their research and development. And but you're right. In theory, if THW would receive a lot of budget from the Ministry of Finance, we could do it on our own, and every product would theoretically do it on their own. Because if they follow the PCP procedures, it doesn't matter where the money comes from.
Okay, this is very important. Thank you for this clarification as well. Any other questions from the participants from Direction Consortium?
Maybe let me just stress, because you were asking the last question. I mean, that's what I've just learned last month. In Germany, there's something which we call the cyber authority, which is an authority which is funded by the Ministry of Interior and by the Ministry of Defense. And this cyber authority, they also do PCPs, but they don't use their funding from the European Commission. They use their own money. So, and therefore they don't have to collaborate with other countries. So they just use the instrument of PCP just with German money. So, but that's something I've just learned last month because I've never met them before. It is interesting. So I think PCPs are coming more and more well known, and also advantages out of that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this information, because the procurement pathway was really an element which was pointed out in the policy brief that Direction has prepared. Everyone was in many on many aspects. There were some requests for improvement of this process of procurement of innovation, and with your experience, I think it's very helpful. It's clarified. It's important to say that anyone can apply this pre-commercial procurement and somehow adapt the technology development to the demand of the users. And I think this is what is very interesting with this process, that there is a lot of interaction. You just not buy something which is already existing, but you adapt to all the features that are requested by the users. And this make the product even better for use at the end. So I think it's very interesting. Gordon, you want to say or to comment?
Yeah, firstly, thanks very much, Alexander. Very informative. Appreciated it. Can you pop your email address in, or if Bastian's got it, I'd like to contact you about data and our CMine platform, and potentially matching those things together and putting some of your stuff into our portfolio of solutions.
Yeah, please just contact me. I think you can use the email address here. And I think also some of my colleagues have been in contact with John as well, or Sirk. So please just go ahead.
Thanks.
Okay. Any further comments, question, maybe, or Sandra, any feedback from your side? What are the benefits?
No, I mean, it's very challenging to get together all the requirements, and as Alexander mentioned, the SWOT analyst from Fraunhofer, by the way, so the data could probably also be provided via Juliane on the tools that has been assessed, showed that there are matches for some parts of the requirements, but not for all. That's also the reason why we aim for this pre-commercial procurement project.
Yeah. And I think it's in the part you were working on, as I have understood, you were in charge of specifying the needs and explain what you need in addition to what already exists on the market. What are the features that you need in certain situation you are facing? So and this make this whole process very interesting and useful.
That's exactly what you pointed out, because this is the initial idea. That's also why we have a coordination on support action, and Commission is not directly starting with the PCP, because I mean the 1 year is to figure out what is the need. So that was basically the task from Sandra and her team, and from Fraunhofer was the task. So what is on the market, and then in the end, if you have both on the table, you can compare in an ideal world and figure out, does the market already satisfy our need? And if that would be the case, then the Commission will not spend further funding, because then they say, I mean, if it's on the it's in the market, you can buy it. There's no need for research and development. But if you figure out that not all requirements, or not all important requirements, are already satisfied by the market or by the solutions on the market, I mean, then it's worthwhile spending funding for research and development, that we can develop a new technology, a new tool, which is satisfying the needs of public procurers. And this is the whole idea behind that. And it is not so much that academic institutions work together. The focus on PCP is that the development is done by small, medium enterprises, mainly by small, medium enterprises, because these are the ones who bring it later on the market. I mean, Fraunhofer, universities, DHLR, like other, or TNO, I mean, they do great work, but they never bring a product on the market. Whereas, I mean, the idea is of the PCP process in the end, that then somebody will bring it after the project on the market. And therefore, you need either industry partners or small, medium enterprises or startups, because these are the ones who would like to have a return of invest in the end. And that's the main focus on that. That's what is a little bit the difference between, let's say, the normal research and development projects, the research and innovation actions, the innovation actions, and the PCP. It is this very strong focus that later on there is nearly a product.
Very good. Thank you so much. I think what you have presented is also very inspiring for us, because as Direction Network, we want to serve this objective of making the innovation known to the emergency responder, to know what is on the market, to facilitate the circulation of the information about innovative technology. That's the reason why we have the award, we have our webinar to present new technology, but we want also to facilitate the adaptation of the product to the need of the emergency responders. And so this is why it's important to have opportunity for dialogue, for exchange of wishes, and provide feedback on existing technology to develop the version 2 or 3 of some technology. So this is how we see our role also as Direction to somehow support the procurement pathway, in addition to promoting innovation, informing the community about innovative technology. So we think that our all activity somehow support as well the procurement pathway. Thank you again for your participation. We will share your slide, and also give the opportunity to our consortium to visualize again this your presentation in this with the video recorded. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you for your time.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.